Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Cairo, and sorry for the mess, sorry for the dark room, just not been recording recently. I got my Steam working, by the way, which, if you don't know about that, wait, have I told you? Well, yeah, I would just go to my Twitter. I don't care about that. But what I'm here to do, it is nearly a month from when Overwatch released. Well, not the original. I wish that was, but it's been a year since the Overwatch 2 got released. And I just want to make a video just stating that I still fucking hate this game. And I think this is my last straw because after a year of not doing anything to fix this game, I'm just done with it. I hate this game. I'm literally uninstalling this game after this video. But yeah, let's get into it. So, what we were promised in Overwatch 2 is like this grand experience. This experience that would just rival Overwatch 1. And alongside the PvE to the game, we're actually going to get something that is not only just better, going to bring more players back, but it's going to be more fun than the first initial day of it. And let me give you some backstory. I played the game initially in 2017. Why 2017? Well, 2017 was the year that I got online access to my PS4. I didn't need online modes. I never played anything online except for MMORPGs like Pirate 101, Wizard 101 on the PC. So you really shouldn't just pay for a subscription that just gives you free internet. But some of the first games I played back then was Overwatch, Rocket League, I think like a couple Call of Duties. Then that was it. And that was until Fortnite came out, which everyone was addicted to the game. And I might even have another video just saying why I hate Fortnite just purely based on my friend group at the time. Let's just say a lot of my friends back then were just a bunch of assholes. I'm not gonna lie. Just a bunch of dickheads and people I hate. So it just, and alongside just general Fortnite changes, I was just not having it. But um but yeah, originally when I played Overwatch, I was skeptical because I never played any online mode in that game alongside the other ones. But once I got into it, I played as Tracer, and I was having a fucking blast with that game. I was just, oh, I love this. And like it's very vague. I don't remember a single game I played back then because I don't know, but I just remember all I remember was I was having a lot of fun, not realizing that I was playing an online game at the time. And compare that to now. I can never have fun. I went back to the game in late 2020, because I personally I didn't want to show $40 to Blizzard just to play this one game, which honestly back then was kind of a mistake. I think I should have paid for the game on PC, but hey, beggars be choosers, and I joined very late into the game cycle, and it showed. Like honestly, but I was still having fun. I would log in every day, play ranked, and try to just get better at the game, have fun, whatever, yada yada yada. And that I can compare to Overwatch 2 now, which I think is so much worse. These people have it so much worse than me. So, I was actually hard stuck silver back in the day because I didn't. I don't know what was wrong with me. But I think that I wasn't putting enough effort into just maining one thing. I was like all over the place. I would play like tank, DPS, support, and then just flip it all around. So I was not really trying to be consistent. But and then once I hit Overwatch 2, I actually tried a teeny bit more. I mean, it is Overwatch 2, so I'm not giving it any full effort that I could have given it. And so I hit Gold 3. I'm gonna be honest here. Hitting Gold 3 in Overwatch 2 felt like staying in Silver in Overwatch 1. To be honest, like, I just feel no energy from it. Like, just the little badge on my thing just means fuck all if it's not Overwatch 1. Because what does it mean when everything was just stripped from you? And then, well, of course, the PvE. I don't even think I need to go into the PvE because everyone knows what the problem is. But, it stings a lot. Especially knowing you could, like, hit a higher rank and then you just fucked off. Like, I still feel like I'm platinum in that game, but, um, so I watched the video before doing this. That's what gives me the idea to do this video at this exact moment. And they said, the Blizzard devs, they said that, the Battle Pass is the most progressive system. Many things. How the fuck is it more progressive than whenever you leveled up, you were given like 5 items. And all of those items could mean like cosmetics or even like tokens so you could spend more cosmetics. There was an actual system. Yeah, I was behind loot boxes, which everyone is notoriously against. But I feel like in Overwatch it makes more sense than having a battle pass. Because not only do you have to shill money every season just to get, these items and shit, which some of them don't even matter. Like, you know where it's gonna go. It's like at some point you just stop and you're like, I don't want to keep leveling up because all the items are worthless. Versus loot boxes where if I just play to get a level up, I could get like a very cool ass skin, and it's like, whoa, I actually worked up for something. Like, that's a lot more progressive. And plus, if you don't pay for the battle pass, then what happens? You get like a bunch of gimmick items. Versus where if you just paid for the game, then you get a bunch of cosmetics within that game without having to spend a single penny. Which, by the way, if you spend a single dollar in Overwatch 2, honestly, what is mentally wrong with you? Like, honestly, like, I hate to say it, but you're just not very smart if you did that. Because it was not worthwhile. It's like Bitcoin or some shit. It's going downhill real quick. Oh yeah, so originally, back when I was playing, back in me olden day, I remember distinctly that Blizzard was going for this narrative that uh women inclusion should be in part of all games, and we love like women. Well, not in that weird way, but it's like, women back then were discouraged from video games because of, well, their womanhood apparently. Which, yeah, I get that. But then Blizzard themselves are like, oh yeah, let's just disregard that and have an entire lawsuit against them, basically being like, oh yeah, we've actually been sexually assaulting women, and our workplace is actually not good enough for women. Then it's like, at that point, what do you even consider Overwatch? Is Overwatch now all of a sudden just like some ploy? Because if that specific case of just, we value women inclusion, to then sexually assaulting women in your workplace is anything, Overwatch is kind of a joke to them. Because think about that. They're just they're not even caring about the messages that they send with their own video game. Like it, that just shows you they don't value fuck all about this game. Uh, what else? What else? Yeah, I feel like a lot of the changes that came with Overwatch were just they're just not necessary. Primarily with me, 6v6 was meant for Overwatch. You know, years upon years of balancing the game for a system that is now just gone. So now we're sitting here as a company that's not been working since 2019 to 2022, late 2022, mind you, to now all of a sudden reworking the entire game to try to make it so that now all of a sudden we can just make it all work in a 5v5 setting. It's bullshit. It's not been working. And many people have said that support is one of the most overpowered roles in the entire game, and that more than ever, there are just way, way, way more support DPS players. Like, you know, your Kirikos, your Morias, your Zens, your Baptistes, yada yada yada. You get the point. And it's like, we can just say that, like, oh, we should just have it be overpowered. We should just make support overpowered. Is that really the solution? Besides, like, all the queue times and shit, what does it matter at that point? You know what I mean? And even, like, the roll locks. What does that even matter when originally queue times were just good? The only reason we have roll locks to begin with is because of the goats meta. That was the only reason we had it. And now we're just having more things. I literally saw a noob hunter, which, if you don't know noob hunter, I'll probably put him in the description. But there's literally a video where it took an hour, an entire hour, to get into support. Like, I think more than ever, it's just causing more pain. Also, by the way, I have like a sore spot under here in my mouth, so it kind of hurts. But you know, back to 6v6, it just really doesn't matter whether we should keep the supports overpowered or not, because it was all meant for 6v6, and I think that any changes we made back then are just counterproductive now, and it's just showing, essentially. Like, anyone can be overpowered, underpowered, whatever, and we're just trying to, like, flop around like a dead fish in the fucking ocean. Or on land, whatever. But it just feels like we're just scrambling to try to get this all to work, when it's like, old is actually better. We aren't making anything even better than it already was. Especially with, like Tank, for example. Tank, it just feels floppy, you know? Like, you can tell a lot of the characters in that roster just, they're not meant to be, like, solo tankists. Like, your Ball, or your Doomfist, which he should go back to DPS, and, like, your Orisa, whatever. Like, they just feel out of place now. And you can disagree with that stance. I completely agree that some of, like, the changes they made kinda are working in the favor. Like, whenever I imagine Orisa walking down the map of whatever the fuck, which I'll get into game modes real quick, but it just feels weird for me. Like, as an Overwatch 1 person who was just used to having another tank alongside you, and you know, that's the only, like, literally I stopped playing tank altogether because they removed the second tank. There is no off tank. There's just tank. and it just feels extremely weird having like a ball be compared to a Reinhardt, because that is, if we're going off Overwatch 1 philosophy, not even close. These two are not even close to one another. Because if it was to stand, your Reinhardt would be the front tank, your main tank, and your like Diva, your Zarya, your whatever else would be your secondary tank. So it just makes less sense now that we're just keeping this 5v5 instead of like doing it. But that raises the question in of itself, should we just bring back the servers? Honestly, like, should we just stop having Overwatch 2 and just go back to Overwatch 1? Which has been something I've spoken about so many times, as you can see in this info card up here. Maybe, maybe not. I'm very bad at putting them in. But I just think that we should. We should just go back to this Overwatch with all the changes that we need back into the game that would make it a lot better than it was. It's just, I think we should just bring back the server, which may or may, sadly enough, may or may not be possible. Because if you know, you know, but turning off servers doesn't mean you can just revive a server back up. Shutting down a server means that there's no more online play for it. And probably since it's been a year, they probably deleted everything. There is no Overwatch 1. Which is actually such a shame, which, like, it's such a tricky situation for the devs to be like, you know, everyone wants Overwatch 1 back. Nobody wants to play our Overwatch 2 game. Like, what do we do? Like, do we just keep pedaling back and back and back and back until we're just at Overwatch 1 and we just have a gimmicky 2 next to our name? Or do we just hold our ground and be like, this is what we want? Which, by the way, if they keep doing that, they're probably going to lose a lot of they're going to lose so many players. Now, before I get in the game mode, real quick, the esports. Now, I've been harping all about the negatives, and you might be like, Pyro's just only negative. He's so hypocritical and biased. The esports is fucking awesome. I like that the Contenders League is back. Overwatch League, that's a totally different story. You probably know my stance on them shutting down Overwatch League. But Overwatch Contenders, I've surprisingly been actually engaging with a tiny bit, not too much. Especially seeing I've moved past Twitch. But, you know, I've actually been trying to, like, engage a little bit more with what's happening with Pirates in Pajamas, which you might not think that's actually, like, some big esports league, but bro, the names of these these orgs right now are so funny. But, you know, I've actually been liking Overwatch Contenders a lot. I'm actually pretty excited for some of the leagues. I don't know when like the finals gonna be happening, or like whenever these in LAN events. I don't even know if there are I would bet not. They're all like online modes. They don't show any like cameras, but I'm just hoping we get LAN if that's the case. But you know, out of anything, that is just me wanting to just. Sadly enough, that's just me wanting to watch something that's like a lot more exciting than what we get. Like any of these sports, like, you know, CS:GO for example. CS:GO is not like the most exciting thing to play when you're, you know, just casually playing ranked mode. But then when you watch the esports, it's like, holy shit, holy fuck, everything is just amazing. This is like a winter wonderland. And that's just how I feel about Overwatch, but in a way more toxic and uh sour apple type way, where it's like I don't even want to fucking associate with Overwatch 2 right now. But the esports actually pretty cool. It's pretty nice, you know. So that's like a positive I could think of off the top of my head. But now the game modes, back to negative. I don't think that not only Flashpoint, but uh fuck, how I'm your game is so bad. I'm forgetting the other mode. Uh, oh my god, I actually did. I thought I had it off the top of my head. Mr. Robot. That's what I'm gonna call it. Both Flashpoint and Mr. Robot are 10 times worse than 2CP. That's a very hot fucking take, but I think it's completely justified. Especially this new mode. Flashpoint, if you don't know what it is, if you've detoxified yourself from Overwatch, which good for you, man. I love you. But it's basically 3CP. So
It's ironic, right? We're adding 3 CP, but we had to remove 2 CP.
but you know, 2CP it was kind of somewhat annoying for a lot of attacking. Like it was so annoying to attack sometimes. But it's at least better than whatever we're getting with 3CP, where rotating to the next point just feels so fucking awkward. Like, dude, it is so awkward. Like, I hate to be the winning team in either cases because it just feels so awkward just running across the entire map. And your Overwatch, which is a YouTube channel, stated that this was coming and that it would be like pretty cool. And I actually fell upon the fact that it was actually pretty decent. Like, you know, like the we'll have these multiple objectives, but we'll move closer, farther, whatever. So it's like an actual advantage. Which it was all just based on how I was gonna play. And well, with me, I am so fucking disappointed. I am really disappointed with this mode. And I can't. I hate Flashpoint. I just really cannot stand it. Like, we got some pretty cool maps out of it, like an Indian inclusion to the game, even though I don't think there's a single Indian character except like maybe Symmetra, maybe. I'm not even sure about her origins. I might put that up on screen, but it's just really annoying. It is really annoying. Along with the Mr. Robot mode, which to this day I just think is kind of way more of a gimmick than an actual competitive thing. Because, you know, if early on you win a bunch of robot points, like it is actually impossible. It is really impossible to do it because think about it. If you won two fights in a row, two team fights, and you got that number of distance, not only would the other team need to retrack back, but also win those two fights again, while also justifying trying to get the point past that maybe distance that it needs. And it just feels like way more of a drag to play that mode than just, you know, just 2CP. You just focus your effort on this one point, and you may or may not get into it, and that's fine. So the modes that we're getting right now are just very, just very loose pocketed. You know, if you know what I mean. Also with missions, I've actually found missions to be, you know what I mean, like with missions, I'm. This is what I'll say. If this is just clip notes from the PvE mode, I think PvE would have been fucking awesome because with the menu specifically, the menu just feels fucking awesome. I don't know, you could click everywhere around the screen and especially on the picture where he'll just Winston will just be talking with this AI and just be like, "Oh, the remnants of the old days," which exactly how I'm feeling, except in a negative way. But with the missions themselves, uh, I'm gonna be honest here. I do not want to pay for the other missions, and that's sadly because of a distrust with Blizzard and Overwatch 2. With if do I give them the money if they're going? It's kind of like why am I shareholding? That's what it's called. If I'm thinking of like keeping shares with a company and they're just royally fucking up, why would I keep my share with that company? That is exactly what I'm thinking with these missions. Like, they want me to pay for them, yes, but am I willing to give them the money to get those modes when they've been mistrusting me, lying to me, and just generally ruining the Overwatch name for the past year or so? For me, it's a hard fucking no. You know what I mean? And with the missions, the first one that is, it doesn't it's not the best, I'm gonna be honest. It kind of is decent, but it reminds me a little more of like any other game I could get. The first one off the top of my name is Dishonored, so to speak, with especially with the dark aesthetic of the London place. It just really reminds you of Dishonored, but Dishonored at least you get a lot out of it for what you get. And with Overwatch, it just feels like it just really feels like you're just trying to defend a point and then just get the robot and then just fight. Like it's just a big robot fighter. Really doesn't feel like anything special. It doesn't feel like anything I would want. And like even with some of the funny modes like missiles, where it's just putting missiles on top of your head. It's not fun. I don't think it's fun in any regards to what missions kind of should be. I'm gonna be honest. Like it just it's just bland. Honestly, like it's not bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's like completely awful. It's just bland. You've seen it hundreds of times over and so many solo missions. It's just like, well, what's even the point, And then on top of that, if I play this mode and I decide, you know what, I'm gonna pay for it, what am I expecting besides the same thing over and over and over? The same mission, essentially. I'm gonna be honest, you could just get out of any free game. Maybe even more, just any paid game. Like your Hollow Knight, your as I said, Dishonored and Cupheads or whatever. Like you just get a lot more out of the solo experience than this half-assed attempt at it. That just doesn't live up to anything. It's not any hype. And it just feels way more less than more than. Oh yeah, on top of that, with the Steam reviews, I've seen that is now the worst game, just the worst game on the planet. Which here's my stance on it. I think that is completely justified. The amount of hate it got, actually, you'd be surprised. It is it seems like it's overhated. Why are you just hating on a game that's actually decent? No, it's a lot more about the context, and with the context alone, brother, it deserves every hint of hate that it's gotten over the years just for how awful it's been. You know what I mean? And like, whenever I think of like a good time to be alive in Overwatch, it's back in those 2016, 2018 period, which is, don't you think that's a little hilarious a little bit? That the time that most people were feeling happy with the game was before this Overwatch 2 thing even came into the remnants of the developer's idea of a actually good video game. Which, I'm not saying PvE is bad, or that it was going to be bad. What I am saying, though, is that most people just had fun back then than they do now. And it shows in the review. Because, you want to guess how many years it's been since 2019 to when this game was released? Brother, it has been 4 years. And don't you think that a little bit with those 4 years that we've had of dealing with mediocrity, with terrible changes, and stuff that has happened that just made the game experience on a downward slope over the years? What did you think that 4 years of work of actively avoiding an online game is just shown in the reviews? Because I think it is. Like, take Cyberpunk, for example. Cyberpunk had 11 years of this happening. But we could have lived without Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Like, we lived our entire 11 years of not having Cyberpunk. But then once we got it, it was like, oh wait, there's so many fucking bugs in it. It's dog shit. So, negative reviews, negative reviews. But we've had an online game for 1/3 of that time. And that in of itself was awful. Because that in of itself was just us wanting to play the game a lot more, but not feeling it because the developers were actively working on something that, may I remind you, never came into fruition. Which I don't need to keep telling you, but I'm just putting this in the context. So once a year has gone by and Overwatch was gonna be released on Steam, which, by the way, I want to put this out here before I go into it. Steam Overwatch is kind of dog shit. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the frame rates on Steam compared to the Blizzard app is, I've noticed, a lot worse. Like, I was stuttering so much when I initially played the Overwatch Steam release. I just hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I just could not play the Steam version, but I had to update the Blizzard version, so it's like, ugh, let me just play the Steam one. So I think it's justified, but oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. But yes, with Steam, I just feel like it is completely justified. More than anything, that for ruining our entire, like, this super interesting game. I'm not saying this out of pure malice for the game. As they say, like, Scrooge had a reason for hating Christmas at the beginning. And that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. I am Scrooge because Overwatch has been, Overwatch hasn't been treating me nicely. As a player who's dedicated years of their life to just wanting to give it some effort, give it some time to form itself. And I see the vision for this game that I saw, everyone else saw back in 2014 when the game was trying to be released and was being in production. That drive that we all saw for this MMO game, or this MOBA game, where you could play as any sort of character and play as any style of character, and that it would just all collide in this fun, super fun experience that people would just see as very fun, casual, whatever, you know? But as years gone on, Overwatch is just dying with that concept. That concept, nobody's impressed by it anymore, I see. And it could be because everyone's been milking the idea that, multiple character shooters or whatever. But I just think that with a lot of the changes, like, with a lot of stuff that's been happening with the game, it's just not fun anymore. I think this is gonna be like the closer. But, this isn't just the closer to the video, it's the closer to the entire era of video games that have rippled, essentially, because of Overwatch's release. That is now dying. Like, Overwatch has its novelty. And it's a really big factor for why I keep coming back to the game. No other game, really, truly speaking, is like Overwatch. Many people are saying, like, just go to TF2. TF2, in my opinion, sorry but not sorry, is not even close to what Overwatch is. Like, back in, like, 2017 when I played the game, TF2, looking at it, probably from that time period to now, it is not as fun as Overwatch. Truthfully and honestly, like, there's so much more you get out of Overwatch than you do TF2 in many regards. I'll never stop saying that. But with that novelty, with that experience you get from playing an Overwatch game, has been dwindling in fun. It has been dwindling in quality. And it is just really hard for me. It is extremely hard for me to see this potential in this franchise and in this field. But then it's just getting ruined, and my trust has been dwindling. I'm like, I love Overwatch. I still love the concept of it, but the company that's doing all this shit is just killing it. Like, I want to keep playing as Widowmaker, as Tracer, as McCree, like these interesting heroes that all have different playstyles within the one game that it has. But I think this is it. Honestly, with the year that has been with Overwatch 2, I'm finally done with it. I'm opening my eyes to the realization that such an amazing game franchise, such a thing that made me fall in love with the entire concept is just dying. And there's nothing I can do but to have it in its gravestone, in its casket, and just say farewell. Because times have changed. And this novelty experience that I keep holding on to, desperately wanting to come back, as of right now, it's just no more. And in some facet, maybe I'll come back to the game if it like really outdoes itself. But with me overlooking it, coming back to its grave, looking down upon it, I just have no reason, really, ever, to let the emotions that have influenced me be in some facet something I think about and want back every day. You know, like an actual person who died up on you. Because you know you're never gonna get those experiences back. So what is to just forget it? To know that it's there, but to forget it and just be like, I'm moving on from it. Which is hard for everybody, and especially hard for me. And it's how I'm feeling with this game. I just really do not appreciate what Overwatch has been doing to me. Over the past couple of years that I've been playing this game, and I just I don't know anymore. I cannot stand this game. This is I'm just not gonna edit this video, but you get my point. I'm done with Overwatch. You're not seeing any Overwatch content. I'm not playing with anybody in Overwatch. Because I do not respect what Overwatch is to me. You know? It is something that in the case that is just hated upon me. That there's like if I don't agree with something, I should just forget it and leave it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I'm gonna end the video. This was actually a very long video, but I've had so much to say about this for so long and felt the need to give an update to this and just state I don't like this game. I do not want to play this game, and I will not play this game. So please do not expect any content coming from Overwatch. I'm officially retiring from Overwatch, and I'm sadly enough, I'll just never see the day of its glory. But yeah, that I hope you have a good day, and I'll be back soon, by the way.